My name is Gavin Evans, and this is my review of Jurassic World Dominion. Now, the first Jurassic Park movie is one of my favorite movies of all time. It's super tense and thrilling, incredibly well directed, acted, written, just a perfect blockbuster by every means. Then you've got The Lost World, which has some amazing moments, but I don't think the movie comes together as well as it should. Jurassic Park 3 has a scene where a raptor says Alan, so it's automatically a masterpiece. Jurassic World is a generic blockbuster in the worst kind of way, and Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom is a movie with a very goofy script, but I think the directing of J.A. Bayona elevates it, and it's a movie that constantly evolves, and it ends on top of a mansion while it's raining out. That's enough for me to say I enjoyed that movie for what it is. And the ending of that one got me excited for this movie because the idea of dinosaurs being free in the world is a premise that really excited me. I just figured there's so much you can do with this premise. You can go all over the earth. You could go to a desert environment, you could go to the mountains, you could go to Russia, or if they were at the Great Wall of China getting chased by raptors, or if they were on the Eiffel Tower getting attacked by a T-Rex, or even if they ripped off King Kong and had a T-Rex climb the Empire State Building, I'd be fully on board with that. I just wanted the movie to use this premise and just deliver a really fun and goofy blockbuster, and unfortunately we get anything but that. What we get instead is Locust. That's right, you heard that correctly. Locust. Dinosaurs don't even play a huge role in this movie. I had to remind myself it was a Jurassic Park movie in moments. The entire story revolves around Locust. All that potential, and you went with Locust. You had potential to go to all these different environments and be really unique with the setting, and what do? They bring you to a lab in the middle of a jungle, so therefore it feels like every other movie in this franchise. So this is a movie built off a great premise. You had all this potential and they do nothing with it. It is beyond frustrating. When the story starts to happen, I'm just like, is this really the direction they're going in? They picked the worst, most generic direction to take not just this movie, but this franchise, to the point where I never want to see another Jurassic Park movie again. Not saying the franchise has been great up until this point, but they've never had an awful movie, and this movie gets even below that level. This movie is borderline unwatchable. Like, the story that actually does take place is complete nonsense. You know, during the last hour of the movie, you're just trying to keep track of what's happening, that they're trying to do that, so they can't do that, and you're just trying to keep track of it, and it's just a convoluted mess. And I had zero emotional investment in the story. And it doesn't help that the script is completely abysmal. The way certain characters act, the dialogue, just everything about it falls flat. And then, without giving anything away, they also retcon a huge plot point from the last movie, and it's just beyond frustrating. This is the rise of the Skywalker of the Jurassic Park franchise. This movie is that level of shit quality. And one issue I have with these movies is that they seem to forget that the first movie wasn't an action movie. It was more of a horror movie. You know, that scene in the kitchen where the kids are sneaking around? That first movie is incredibly tense and nerve-wracking. And they just go for the blockbuster approach, which is completely wrong. And the action in this movie is awful. It is shot and edited so abysmally bad. Abysmally bad. Is that even a word? If it's not, it's a word now. But it's true. The camera's always shaking. There's far too many cuts. It just gave me a headache trying to keep up with the action. There was one minute of action where I was legitimately entertained when Chris Pratt was trying to get on the back of an airplane. But aside from that, the action was just awful, and the movie ends with this fight between all these different dinosaurs, and I'm just like, why is this happening? What is going on? Like, it's not built up to at all. It just happens for the sake of ending the movie with a big dinosaur battle. And the movie is never tense, it's never thrilling. There was no point where my palms were sweaty, mom spaghetti. And it's 2.5 hours long, and boy, did I feel it. This movie feels even longer than that. There is no excuse for this movie to be as long as it is. There's no depth given to the story, to the characters, there's no themes. The movie moves at a snail's pace. There is no reason for this movie to be so freaking long. And then they also take the amazing score from the very first Jurassic Park movie. You've heard it a few times since the first movie came out, but they kept reusing it time and time again in this movie, and it's so blatantly manipulative that it drove me nuts after a certain point. And I could at least forgive some of that if the movie at least had some entertainment value to it, but it doesn't. I was bored the entire time waiting for the movie to end. And as much as I like lots of these cast members, I thought every single performance in this movie was awful. Not just bad, but awful. Chris Pratt, Mario himself, is usually really good. He carries movies incredibly well for the most part. But this movie, it just feels like he couldn't care less about it. He puts zero effort into his acting here. And then you've also got Bryce Dallas Howard, who I also think gives the worst performance I've ever seen from her. She's awful in this movie, and those two never felt like a couple at all. Like, you finally get this couple together, and at no point was there any romance, was there any bit of love shown towards each other. It's just a fact of the characters that feels completely forgotten about. And then you've got Isabel Sermon, who's the girl from the last movie, and I think she's really awful here. Her attempts to act like a bratty teenager just felt so forced, and at no point do these three feel like a family. Like, supposedly some of the motivation behind these characters is each other, but at no point did I feel like the mom-daughter relationship was actually present. At no point did I feel like the dad-daughter relationship was actually present. So that entire element of the movie just fell completely flat for me. And I really think they should have taken the daughter character in a different direction. You know, she made a mistake at the end of the last movie, and I wish that she was given the chance to feel the weight of it here. But the movie never even introduces that concept, so I think that's wasted potential. And then you've got Omar Sy, who isn't bad in this movie, but I guess he was in Jurassic World as well, and I just didn't remember this character. Then you've got Justice Smith, who is one of the worst actors working today. This guy is not good in anything he's in. He's not in this movie much, but the time he is in it, he's really bad. And then you've got Danelle Pineda from the last movie as well, who's thankfully not in this movie long at all. And then you've got the big three coming back. You've got yourself Laura Dern, who isn't good in this movie. I thought she was really bad. Then you've got Sam Neill, who I think channels a bit of Harrison Ford energy in the original Jurassic Park, but this movie, just nothing about his performance stood out. It was completely flat. And then you've got Jeff Goldblum, who gives one of my favorite performances ever in the original Jurassic Park. That character could have been a dumb, goofy sidekick character, but he's smart, he's funny, he's charming, and Jeff Goldblum just did nothing for me here. And I guess you also got B.D. Wong again, and B.D. Wong is so awful in these movies. Like, he is not a good actor here at all. And then you've also got some new characters. One is played by DeWanda Wise, who I didn't find to be good at all. You've got Mamoudou Athie, who I definitely mispronounced his name, but I didn't think he was good at all. And then you've got Campbell Scott as the villain, and this guy is just so awful. There was one scene where he's freaking out, and it just looks like a little baby having a tantrum. Like, it is quite laughably bad. The guy's never menacing. The guy just gives a terrible performance here. And yeah, that's all I have to say on this movie. I really do think this is a franchise that had potential to be great, and they just kept wasting it at every single opportunity. Like, for goodness sakes, let me repeat myself. The last movie ended with all the dinosaurs going out into the world. There was so much potential there, and they don't utilize it at all. It is one of the most laughably bad decisions I've seen a movie make in a very long time. And what we got instead was a generic, non-sequel story with no emotion, no stakes, no tension, no thrills, no nothing. It was 2.5 hours long and I was completely bored the entire time. A cast filled with talented actors must have known what they were in because no one gives a good performance. And in a franchise with only one great movie and a bunch of other movies, this one is easily the worst. Not even close. So I'm going to go ahead and give Jurassic World Dominion a 0.5 out of 10. There were so many different directions they could have taken this story. Take them to Egypt. Take them to Canada. Take them to Antarctica. Take them to Everest. And the movie just wastes all the potential it had for Locust. Just unbelievable. Truly. But have you seen Jurassic World Dominion? What did you think about it? Let me know in the comments down below. Make sure you like, make sure you comment, make sure you subscribe. Stay tuned for some more videos soon. And Gavin out.